Hi, boys and girls. So now you should know that a polygon is a straight-sided, closed, two-dimensional shape. And you also should know that there's many different types of polygons. A lot of the polygons can be identified by the amount of sides. That's the first thing you should look for. What type of polygon is it? Well, it has 3 sides, it's a triangle. Oh, it has 4 sides, it's a quadrilateral. 5 sides, pentagon. I like to think about polygons as this big umbrella, and underneath the umbrella are all the different categories of shapes. Under the triangle umbrella are all the triangles. Under the quadrilateral umbrella are all the quadrilaterals, and so on and so forth. And it goes on to infinity. Um, to your 5 sided pentagons and your 6 sided hexagons, your 7 sided heptagons, your 8 sided octagons, and so on and so forth. In third grade, we really put an emphasis on quadrilaterals because quadrilaterals are very common. Our world is full of quadrilaterals. So it's important for you to understand the different types of quadrilaterals. Not all quadrilaterals are created equal, but they are all 4 sided polygons. One type of quadrilateral is a parallelogram. So underneath the parallelogram umbrella, they are all shapes that have all opposite parallel sides. For example, in this picture right here, this shape is a parallelogram. This side and its opposite side right here, if these were stretched off in this direction to infinity and in the other direction to infinity, these 2 sides would never get closer together or further apart. They are exactly parallel. And then this set of opposite sides are also parallel. They would never get closer together or further apart if they extended on to infinity. Under the parallelogram umbrella, there's even more types of parallelograms. There are rectangles. Those rectangles are actually a kind of parallelogram that has all 4 right angles. There are also rhombuses. Rhombuses are parallelograms, but their main criteria is they have all 4 side lengths the exact same. And finally, if you cross a rectangle with a rhombus, you get a square. A square has the attributes of a rectangle as being a 4 sided uh, polygon, quadrilateral, parallelogram, but it has all 4 right angles, and it also draws from the rhombus category because it has all 4 sides exactly the same length. So it's almost like um, a square is a cross between a rectangle and a rhombus. A square is what is considered a regular quadrilateral. All the sides are the same and all the angles are the same. Now, one thing that is can be confusing but very important to remember is that all squares are rectangles, but not all rectangles are squares. This is a rectangle and it is not a square. This is a square and it is a rectangle. And the same thing with the rhombuses. All squares are rhombuses, but all rhombuses are not necessarily squares. This is a rhombus and is not a square. This is a square and it is a rhombus. And all rectangles, rhombuses, and squares are all parallelograms. They're all quadrilaterals and they're all polygons. So you can just move up the chart to identify that shape. Another type of quadrilateral, you have your trapezoids. Trapezoids have exactly one set of opposite parallel sides, and the other opposite sides cannot be parallel. If these became parallel, then this would no longer be a trapezoid. It would be a parallelogram. So trapezoids have to have exactly one set of opposite parallel sides, and the other opposite sides cannot be parallel. And there's a couple different kinds of trapezoids. You have your isosceles, meaning the opposite sides that aren't parallel. If they are congruent, if they are the exact same length, it is an isosceles trapezoid. A right trapezoid has 2 right angles, and it still has the exactly one set of opposite parallel sides. And this side and this side are not parallel. That makes it a trapezoid. Finally, we have the kites, which are, it looks just like the kind of kite that you see when you're, the kind that you can fly up in the wind. Well, kites have two sets of adjacent or next to two sides that are adjacent to each other or next to each other that are congruent or the same length, and then another set of sides that are adjacent to each other and the same length, congruent. So this is congruent to this side, and this side is congruent to this side. That makes a kite. This quadrilateral that you see here is what's called an irregular quadrilateral, and that's a kind of quadrilateral that just simply doesn't fit in the parallelogram section, the trapezoid section, or the kite section. Is just an irregular quadrilateral. And there's all different kinds of irregular quadrilaterals. It just simply does not fit into one of those sections. So that's basically what you need to know about quadrilaterals in third grade. And you can replay this video if it got a little confusing, if you need a little bit of clarification, or if you get stumped in one of your activities, you can always come back to this chart and come back to this video and hear the explanation. But it is something that I would like for you guys to commit to your memory, because it is something that is important to know, and it also is something that you pretty much need to take with you all the way until you become an adult. So hope you enjoyed the video, and good luck on your activities.